What's up, Cougs? Welcome back to the Crimson Corner. On today's episode, we're talking Cougar volleyball, Cougar soccer, a little bit of Cougar football. We're going to talk to one of the members of the Wazoo Club softball team, and then have a fun little competition with the club baseball and club softball team as well. I'm Smith, joined with Connor and Jacky in the studio.
What's up?
Let's get this episode rolling.
Now, you'd think we'd start this episode talking about Cougar football going to play against number 4 ranked Ole Miss. But there's another Cougar sport that we got to talk about on the Palouse, and it's the 6-0 in conference Wazoo volleyball team. They have been just electric to watch. I mean, what are we seeing from this team, guys?
First off, 5-0 in conference.
5-0?
Yeah, 6 in a row.
6 in a row, pardon me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What am I seeing from this team? Well, I'm seeing a lot of fight. You know, in their past 2 games, they took on Gonzaga and LMU. They won in straight sets against both those teams. And I think what was really impressive is that in both those games, in some of the earlier games, early in sets, they were down like 2-9 or 3-7. But in these past 2 games, I mean, they've come out in these sets pretty quickly, pretty strong, pretty on fire, honestly. And the only time they were down was in the second set against LMU. I think they were down 3-7, but they were able to overcome that and eventually turn it into a win.
Yeah, I would say overall we're doing good, but I would critique the fact that we need to play smarter a little bit.
Yeah.
Just knowing spots. I think the chemistry is great on the team. When we have timeouts, it seems like they do way better going back in their headspace changes. But just playing like more smarter defensively and offensively, knowing how to read the other team is very important.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, it helps that we're winning. That's a part of it, but the vibes on this team are really great. I mean, Talia Bernal, Lucy Blaskova are a good duo. You can tell they gel really well together. And then another part of that team who's really started to find her groove, and she's a freshman too, which is amazing. It's Eliana Tia. She's just been super fun to watch on this team, and she's not the tallest member of that team by far, but she just has hops. She can get up, you feed the ball to her, she's going to get kills game in, game out. And so she's super fun to watch. And then you also think about the fact that Lucy Blaskova is she's a sophomore this year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So it's you have Eliana Tiu, who's a freshman, and you have Blaskova, who is a sophomore. That's a super young core that you can build around.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, I know Blaskova, I think she has 162 kills so far in the season, but I think Eliana Tia, for being a freshman, she's doing really good. I think she has around 150, which is second on the team.
Yep.
And honestly, I'd be a little concerned for future years. Hopefully they stick around. I'm a little concerned with the transfer portal that they may leave.
I would say another key aspect is that we're really focused on a lot of our hitters, but our star players are also our DSs. Our defensive specialists have been really good covering, reading the plays, and just knowing where to go, which I don't think they get enough credit for, besides a lot of our hitters on the team as well.
Yeah, I think one of the unsung heroes of this team is Tinos Galmez. She's our libero for this team, 177 digs. I feel every single game, I mean, obviously you're gonna pay attention to Blaskova and Tia and Krista Dulu, they're leading the team in kills. But I feel Galmez, she kind of is that sneaky player. Defense is such a huge part of volleyball, and people don't realize that. They kind of get swept up in the offensive plays, but the defense has been really fun to watch, and Galmez has kind of been at the heart of that all year so far.
Yeah, she's one of the best liberos in the league, in the conference, at least in my opinion, from what I've seen, always getting a lot of digs. But I think another key aspect of this team that people kind of overlook is just their service play, their service and receive. I think last night when I was watching the game against LMU, the broadcaster said how they lead the WCC in 2 aces per set, which especially because a lot of their sets are really close, that can come back and help them win these sets.
Yeah.
I would say for their service alone, I've seen service where they're really aggressive, but they are a really consistent team with their serves, and I think that's really key as well, because a lot of teams will change it up trying to be aggressive or get short serves or deep serves, but I think consistency is key, and it really shows in that. And then same with receiving. I think they're really smart at having a good defense and receiving a ball that gets us good sets and good hits.
Yeah, and head coach Corey Schrader, he's kind of talked about this in a lot of his press conferences that he's done, and I 100% agree with him, is that in any given game, yeah, they're the superstars. Again, there are Lucy Blaskova, there's Eliana Tia, there's Krista Dulu kind of put up there, but it feels every single game there's at least somebody who you maybe weren't expecting to kind of be the hero of that game. I think for Santa Clara it was definitely Krista Dulu. She kind of led the whole team. At some nights it's Blaskova, some nights it's Tia, some nights it's Vreeling. So it's and Lingenbrink, that's a name that we were kind of talking about off air, where it was no, she does not get enough credit for how good she is. And so it's I think that's something that this team really has is depth, where it's on any given day, any given game, they can have somebody on that roster just stand out, aside from your top 3 guys.
Yeah, and I think there obviously are some games where you have, I think Taryn Vreeling a couple of games ago had like 15 kills, and then you obviously have Blaskova a couple of games with 16 or more kills. But there's also a lot of games when depth comes into play. I mean, when they played against LMU, like their leading scorer in kills was Eliana Tia, and I think Melina Christodoulou, and both of them only had 9.
Yeah.
And so it's like that's not a lot compared to like some of the season highs, but it just shows the amount of other people who are getting involved. Like Mary Healy, who I think had 4 kills. Yeah, you mentioned it, Taryn Vreeling. Trying to think who else. That's all that's coming to mind right now. Oh yeah, Cameron Lingenbrink. Yeah, and and then also Cameron Lingenbrink. I don't think she gets enough credit too with the amount of support she gives on the blocking aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I think Blaskova last year led the WCC in blocks or something. It was some like crazy stat. She had I don't remember how many solo blocks, but a lot.
Yeah.
But this year, I mean, she hasn't had as many, but Lingenbrink definitely has stepped up to help her in that realm.
Oh yeah.
I was going to say, with you talking about the blocks as well, with her showing that last year, it shows our team is so versatile as well. Like, with our height kind of all similar, as well as the way that we all are fundamentally, like, able to dig and able to serve, it shows the aspects of us being, like, super, super, like, versatile in the sense that we're all able to do things, and then they all work together, and it copes really well as well.
Yeah. And so, I mean, look, 5-0 in conference, 6 undefeated so far. The next 2 matchups for these teams, they're going to go play against Pepperdine, and then they're going to play against San Diego. And I mean, Pepperdine, to me, looking just at the WCC standings, it looks like they're going to be pretty comparable to Santa Clara. And we came down to the wire with Santa Clara, so I mean, we'll see what happens in that Pepperdine game, but I'm sure that's going to be a pretty close matchup. But the one that I'm most nervous about is definitely San Diego, because they're also undefeated in conference. They're also pretty hot right now. So I'm kind of wondering what you guys are looking forward for that game.
Honestly, looking forward, well, I'm not going to lie, I am predicting a loss.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying,
me too. Yeah.
So I'm just a little bit worried about how we're going to play defensively. I mean, Lucy Blaskova is our leading scorer in kills. She has 162. But on San Diego, they have 2 players who have over 230 kills. And it's like, that's going to be a lot. Now, they are 0-2 against ranked teams, and it came down when they played LMU. They only won 3-2, and we swept them. So there are some ways I could see us winning this game, but it's definitely gonna be very difficult.
Yeah, I think if Lucy plays how she played the first couple games, we will do better. My score prediction, I think we're gonna win 3-2. Last year was 3-1, I believe.
Yeah.
But with the team and everything, and just the way that we've been, it's looking like the stats are going down a bit. So I'm not super confident. But I think if we practice more and raise up our standards how we were the first couple games, then we could win.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of mirror that, but flip it. I say it's going to be 3-2. I think San Diego's going to win. I'm going to have to side with Connor on this, just because, don't get me wrong, love the Cougs. They're great right now, 5-0 in conference, but San Diego is going to be the toughest team that we've played this year. And I think I was talking with you about this before we went on the show, but I think the combined record for the teams that Wazoo's played in conference is 6-17 or something like that, which is like, don't get me wrong, 5-0 is still 5-0, but this is going to be the real first test that you have against somebody in the WCC, and I have a weird feeling that we're going to get punched in the mouth a little bit, and it's going to shock us. So, I mean, you kind of said your score prediction. What's your score prediction for this game?
I'm going to go 3-1. I'm not as high on them. I mean, when they played UW, they lost 3-1, and I think earlier when they played Dayton, they also lost 3-1. So against really good teams, it seems like they have a trend of going 3-1. They will keep it close. That's something that this Cougs team has. When they go up against good teams, they keep it close.
Yeah.
But I just see 3-1. I don't think that they're going to be 100% ready or prepared, because they haven't played against someone that good since UW, which at that point had been almost a month ago.
Yeah, gotcha. We're all super excited for this. Pepperdine, then San Diego, so we'll see how things kind of pan out. But hey, the other women's sport that we got to talk about right now is women's soccer. So we've been talking some volleyball, but now we got to switch to the other women's sport on the Palouse right now, and that's women's soccer, who have not been doing quite as good as the volleyball team has been doing. They are currently, I think, 9th in conference right now, even though they were predicted to finish 5th place in conference. So how are we kind of feeling about this Cougar soccer team?
I'm honestly, just from what I've seen, I'm a little bit nervous. They're 1-2-1 in conference play, and they have scored 6 goals. But you have to keep in mind that in the last 3 games, they've only scored 2 goals.
Yeah.
So their offensive production is going down. And then you had the whole debacle against the Santa Clara team with the 2 red cards, which is now 3 red cards on the season.
Yep.
And they're only they're allowing 0.96 goals a game, which is more than they are scoring themselves.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of falling down, it seems like, a little bit.
Yeah.
I think even though it's falling down, I have to give credit. It's such a young team that there's so much room to grow. Like for the rest of the season, for off season, for like next year, there's just so much room. And I think we're doing the best we possibly can with some of the injuries, the players that we have, and just the abilities that we're like competing against too.
Yeah, because I mean the injuries have been just brutal, and the 2 main ones have been on defense. That's Jenna Studer on defense, who kind of was supposed to be one of the standout players this year. She's out. Here, Fitzgerald, who was taking over for Nadia Cooper, is out. So you're missing 2 vital pieces on defense, and it's no shock that once they got injured, the defense for the Cougs kind of started to go downhill a little bit. Like, you look at the start of the year, our defense was what was kind of kept us competitive in a lot of games and kind of kept us from losing a lot of games. The reason why we had a lot of draws was because we'd only score 1 goal, we'd only give up 1 goal. Yeah. So you had a lot of games that were 1-1. And then as soon as you lost Studer, as soon as you lost Fitzgerald, you just kind of, the defense went downhill. Granted, the offense started to pick up a little bit, and then after that, but then you kind of mentioned it, that as of late, they've kind of started to go down a little bit. And going back to that Santa Clara game, I think 100% that kind of broke this team breaking into conference play. That just completely shattered a lot of momentum.
Yeah, and I mean, just from experience, when you don't have your starters in from injury, especially on the back line or in goalkeeper, like those are positions you don't sub that often.
Yeah.
And so to have new people stepping into those positions, that's always going to be hard. And then obviously just what do you say in the locker room after getting 2 red cards?
Yeah.
And then not only did you get 2 red cards and they couldn't play the next game, but you go on to lose that game that you were up 1-0 in late into the second half.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, you can't rely on your starters like you're saying, but it's hard to transition when you're not used to starting or you're new on the team and you don't know the fundamentals of how to work with one another. So we really don't know what's going on practice. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes of these things, but these are just things that they have to grow and work with to get better.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned how young this team is. I think one of the main young names on this team is definitely Audrey Shackelford. She's a sophomore, and she's got 2 goals. She's just kind of really stood out in the early part of the season. I remember in that Idaho game, she got her first goal as a Coug. She was like 30 yards out or something like that, and she just winded up a shot, just buried it in the top right corner. And I remember watching that, seeing that, and just thinking she's going to be really good. And she's a name that I would hope we hold on to, because if we were able to, you can build something around that. And then of course, Jordan Young, the redshirt senior, has 3 goals. So that's the thing where it's yes, this team is young, but there are also those veteran spots too. And Jordan Young is kind of fit into that as well. But I mean, it does say something to the offensive production of this team that your leading goal scorer only has 3 goals. That's not something you see of a really dominant program.
Yeah, but I mean, and like you said earlier in the season, they were able originally with their defense to kind of keep them in these games. When they played number 13th ranked Georgia, it was 1-1.
Yeah.
But like you said, with leading scorer only having 3 goals, obviously it's kind of fallen apart. But to some extent, what you're saying with having the veterans, but then also having the younger players, you don't want to say right now, I mean, it's still really early on that this is a rebuilding season, especially in college sports. But at the very least, as long as they can keep some of these players, then the veterans can kind of teach them going forward so they can find some success, not only in future seasons, but also this season as well, especially when they get some more players back from injury. And just as the season progresses, and they calm down a little bit after the first couple games, which have kind of been all over the place.
Yeah, but that's not. I wasn't necessarily saying a rebuilding, but there's just so much room to grow, especially learning from one another. Because as you were saying, I think all the veterans or older players are really teaching everyone that hasn't started or hasn't had a chance really to show what to do.
Yeah, and I think the last name, I think that is one of the big names on this team that kind of might have flown under the radar a little bit, has been Ava Goreshi. She's a freshman. She has 1 goal in the year, but the stat that really stood out to me is she's 3rd on the team for shots with 15. So I feel like every single game I'm watching her, she's doing something. She's just getting involved in the play. She's fast, she's quick, she's able to make those extra passes and just able to set up a lot of her teammates. So it's another really young name that I think could also be someone with Shackelford you could build around.
Yeah, and honestly, when you talked about having 15 shots, I mean, that's one of the most important things in soccer is just getting shots on goal because eventually one of them is going to go in. And we had this saying when I was in high school, and it was just score ugly. Basically, it doesn't matter how the ball goes in the back or gets across that line. As long as it gets across that line, you're going to score a goal. And so even though she may not have that many goals, only one on the season, if she's creating opportunities and giving them a chance to score, that's honestly equally as important.
Yeah.
But I also think that's another thing that we're not as aggressive, and I think we need to be more aggressive than with our team kind of slowing down pace. We need to speed it up a bit, whether that's offense or defense. You can't lose both things.
Yeah, got you. So the Cougs, they got Zora Stander for their goaltender back. They're going to try and piece things back together in the WCC. I mean, try and get out in 9th place and see if you can't just get back to that number 5 spot in the WCC. But hey, that's going to do it for soccer. And right now, we got to take a quick peek at Wazoo football. They went and played against Colorado State. They had a bye week last week, and now they're going to go play against number 4 Ole Miss and then Virginia after that. 2 ranked teams. Cougar football has a kind of a daunting schedule ahead of them. We're filming before that game's going to happen, so we'll know what kind of happens after that game. But Connor, Jacky, I want to get your guys' thoughts on how we're feeling about these 2 ranked matchups for the Cougs.
I'm not feeling great. I'm not feeling great about these next 2 games. When you let up 59 points against UW and the Mean Green North Texas, both those games, and they're not even ranked teams, what do you think is going to happen when we go up against number 4 Ole Miss? What do you think is going to happen when we go up against number 19th? 0 interceptions for our defense.
0-2. We're not doing good. It's not going to be good. No hope. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The way I look at it is this. I love Zevi. He's going to be the starter. We've kind of established now that Jackson Potter is not going to be the starter. We experimented with that. It's going to be Zevi. Love Zevi, but he does throw quite a few interceptions. We saw that UW had the 1 interception, then he had the pick 6, then he had the fumble there. Granted, that was kind of in garbage time. I say that was in garbage time. It was in like the 3rd quarter, but like for that game, that was basically garbage time. So you think about this Ole Miss defense is pretty good. Our defense is great as well. We're, I would say, comparable stats-wise. The defenses are about the same. Granted, Ole Miss is playing much better opponents, and they're putting up that kind of defensive performance, which means their defense is probably better than ours. But I think Zevi's going to throw probably at least 1 pick in that game. Like I think that's a guarantee. He's going to throw at least 1, maybe 2. If UW could do that against us, I definitely think Ole Miss will be able to.
Yeah, and I definitely agree when you say he's going to throw 1 or 2 picks. I don't think he's going to throw more than 3 though. But here's the thing: is I have concerns because here's the thing about this Ole Miss offense. They're 14th in the nation, scoring 40.6 points per game.
Yeah.
And they're going up against tougher teams. I mean, they just beat LSU.
Yeah.
So our defense is definitely going to struggle. So Zevi's going to have to air the ball out, and that's definitely going to lead to a couple of turnovers. And the key thing, too, is that this Ole Miss defense is only allowing 18.8 points per game. So you can kind of see the disparity between how much their offense is scoring and how much their defense is allowing. And so if we want to have a chance, we're going to have to throw the ball a lot.
Yeah, Ole Miss is just playing better teams right now. They're specialized in defense and offense way more compared to us, I feel like. I don't think it's going to be a close game, though, unfortunately. But leaning away from the outcome of Ole Miss, how do we think overall we're going to do just as a team? Are we going to do better than our defense is going to get better, or do you think our offense is going to get better?
You see, that's a good question. I mean, I would say our defense is probably going to get better. Our offense, I think we've seen what we've seen from our offense. We've seen what the ceiling is with maybe that San Diego State game, with maybe that Colorado State game. And even that Colorado State game, they kind of stalled out in the second half, which I kind of think is the identity of this team, really. It's like you can put together a really good first half or a really good second half, but there's always going to be half that game that you're not winning, But, if you're asking me, looking at these 2 ranked matchups, I think the Cougs are – I mean, maybe this is a hot take. I think we're going to split it. I think we're going to lose to Ole Miss. I think we possibly maybe sneak out a win against Virginia. And I know you guys don't agree with me on that, but I have faith in the Cougs at least against Virginia.
Yeah, this was the same guy who said we're going to beat UW. Anyway, I'm just saying. But here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing, is I do like playing Ole Miss before playing Virginia because number 4, 19th, right?
Yep.
So if you're going to play the harder team first, it will kind of set you up for, how good of a team are they going to be? And then obviously Virginia probably won't. They're not as good. Mm-hmm. So they're going to kind of get used to, how hard they're going to have to play. Yeah. But still, I'm going to guess 0-2. The one thing I will say, though, is that no matter what happens, like these two games are the definition of can't lose.
Yeah.
Like, meaning that if you go down, if you go back over East and you somehow split or somehow by a miracle go 2-0, perfect. But if you lose, even if you lose by 20 to 30 points each game, that's what you're expected. Everyone is counting this team out, okay? So you literally can't lose these next two games at all. So I think that this will actually be helpful going ahead because they might get punched in the mouth, but that'll only make them stronger.
I like it, yeah.
I agree, but I really hope that these games don't let them steer away from like, okay, we're playing Ole Miss, really good team, we're playing Virginia, and then the next couple games after that, they're like, okay, we could just go easy now since we're not. Like, I really hope it shows like, okay, we actually have to work hard on fundamentals and stuff and like stick forward and stay straight like in their game, but 0-2, I agree. I don't think there's really hope in this.
Yeah. It's gonna be a rough couple weeks for the Cougs these next 2 ones against Ole Miss and Virginia. But yeah, that's basically all we're gonna talk about for Cougar football. And next up, we have a special guest joining us on Crimson Corner, one of our own cast members who also happens to be a member of the Wazoo Club softball team.